Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the iPhone X and compare it against the iPhone XS Max and see how these two particular iPhones hold up in 2024. Now, the thing I'll definitely tell you between these two iPhones is that there's clearly a one that's probably the better one for the average person, but you have to remember that the iPhone X is a significantly smaller iPhone as well, and for some people, they may not even think there's that big of a difference between these two types of iPhones. So we'll take a look at these two devices throughout this whole entire video. First things first though, if you do want to pick up either one of these iPhones, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both these particular iPhones, the iPhone X, which came out back in 2017 on the front of this particular device, is giving you a 5.8-inch Super Retina OLED display. And the thing I'll definitely tell you about this particular iPhone is that it's a very good looking device. I still think it's a very good looking iPhone. It just became a vintage iPhone not that long ago. But I definitely do think if you're going to go ahead and pick up a device, I think Apple did a really, really phenomenal job, a really good job with this particular device when it came down to it. And I do think this in and of itself is a very, very cool thing going on for the, iPhone X. It's a very good looking, panel. Still has a notch up top. First iPhone to bring an OLED display, first iPhone to bring a notch, and first iPhone to bring Face ID. So it still is a very good looking iPhone without a doubt in my personal opinion. So from that side, definitely gets a thumbs up for me. Now, on top of that, with the iPhone XS Max, this iPhone came out in 2018, and it is a significantly bigger looking iPhone, in every single way than the iPhone, X. This one has a 6.5-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. So this one is slightly different. You're getting a bigger panel overall, which is a really, really big thing to keep in mind. It is a bigger phone, and it's not just slightly bigger. If you're having to use this phone on an everyday basis, you're probably going to feel like it is a significantly significantly bigger phone in almost every single way. And I don't know if you'd want to go down the direction of using this phone on an everyday basis if you're not already comfortable using a big phone. So keep that in mind. Both these iPhones, like I said, have Face ID, have notches and everything like that. So everything there is kind of the same. There's probably an improvement on the Face ID inside of the iPhone XS Max, but even that's not the biggest, it's not the biggest deal in the world. So from that side, that kind of covers it up on the front side. Now they're both giving you lightning ports at the bottom, curved sides, and the build quality is almost exactly the same. At least on the exterior, the iPhone XS Max really just feels like a bigger iPhone X, which is actually a pretty crazy thing. On the backside, standard glass backs on both, which still look and feel very, very great. Dual camera setups on the backside as well, and they're both a wide telephoto lens. We'll talk about that in a second as well. Both these phones have wireless charging, both these phones have IP certification, and overall, these were the and to tell you, when both these iPhones came out for the very first time, both of these iPhones were the most expensive phones that Apple made at that moment. So once again, take that as you will as well, but I don't know if that's necessarily a feature set or anything like that. But some things that these iPhones are missing that common phones have nowadays, though, like at least the Pro iPhones now, is both these phones do not have USB Type-C. Both these phones are not giving you any ProMotion displays. The brightness isn't that high on these phones, they're not as fast, things like that. But on the exterior, no frosted glass backs and no triple camera setups. Those things can be kind of a caveat or a reason not to pick up this iPhone compared to the newest ones, but still, these are very good iPhones when it comes down to it. Now, in terms of the price tag, the iPhone XS Max is going to be a significantly more expensive phone than the iPhone X. I would say there's probably like a $50 to maybe even a $100 difference between these two iPhones as of this point, which may not seem like a big difference, but when you're talking about like a $200 iPhone X or less than like a $150 iPhone X, and you're talking about a $200 to $250 iPhone XS Max, that's kind of a big difference. It's like almost double the price in some instances. So again, not the biggest deal in the world, but once again, just one of those small slight things to kind of keep in mind there as well. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there as well. Now on top of that, with both these iPhones, when we're talking about the cameras, like I said before, both these iPhones are giving you a dual camera setup on the backside. So they're both giving you a wide angle camera and a telephoto lens as well, which is very nice. I love having that type of situation on these types of cameras as well. However, you are getting 4K at 60 on the front. The front camera is slightly different on both. So with the iPhone X, you're basically getting a wide and telephoto lens, but you're getting 4K at 60 on the back, but 1080p at 30 on the front. With the iPhone XS Max, you're actually getting 1080p at 60 on the front. So that is a slight difference and kind of a bigger reason why, again, the iPhone XS Max could be a better iPhone for some people than the iPhone X. But I would still say from the camera side, there's still a lot of similarity as well. Like, we're not talking like massive differences here. There's still a lot of reason why a phone like the iPhone X is still a very decent camera compared to the iPhone XS Max. It just so happens that a phone like the iPhone XS Max, it is the newer it is the newer one, and because it's still supported with software, spoiler alert, you're probably going to be getting some more enhancements in the photos and camera quality as well. But from what I remember back in 2018, 2017, these iPhones, there weren't really too many big differences. But even now, there's not even that big of a difference anyways. Like, we're talking about almost the same type of camera, but maybe some enhancements on the iPhone XS Max with a higher resolution frame rate that you can film in inside of the iPhone XS Max's front camera. So beyond that, pretty much the same type of thing for the most part as well. Now, in terms of software, this is a massive difference between these two phones, and this is probably the one reason why I would look at a phone like the iPhone XS Max or even the iPhone XS and probably tell every single iPhone X owner to switch over to an iPhone XS or XS Max. The software on the iPhone X, it stopped getting software support back in 2022. And, it's still kind of supported with some security updates here and there, but Apple just gave this thing the vintage status, which means that this thing is probably not going to be getting any more software updates anymore. So this thing is basically done. Even if you break this thing, Apple's not going to repair it anymore either. So it just makes it one of those iPhones that I probably wouldn't recommend buying in like any capacity. Whereas on the iPhone XS Max, this iPhone is still getting software support. This is a very, very big deal and a very big thing to keep in mind with the iPhone XS Max. By getting an iPhone like the iPhone XS Max as of, this point, you're going to be getting an iPhone that's still on iOS 18 and is still getting iOS 18 features, which is again a very big thing going on for this particular phone. If I'm going to go through and pick up an iPhone, I would almost always recommend buying an iPhone that's supported with software, and the XS Max is 100% supported with software as of this point, which again makes me very happy of going through and picking up a device like this. So this in and of itself is another very cool thing going on for the iPhone XS Max as of this point, and it definitely gets a thumbs up for me without a doubt. Now, on top of that, when it comes down to the performance side, both these iPhones are slightly different as well. So with the iPhone X, you can need that Apple A11 Bionic chip inside of it with 3 gigabytes of RAM. With the iPhone XS Max, you can need that Apple A12 Bionic chip inside of it with 4 gigabytes of RAM. So this in and of itself is another very slight difference as well. And when you're going through and looking at both these devices, this is also going to be another very interesting difference between these two things as well. So the first thing I'll definitely tell you is with the 10, the performance is really not that bad. I really do think if you're going to go through and pick up a device, you can easily pick up a phone that's still going to be able to kind of handle the performance that you're going to throw at it. And I do think this in and of itself is another very, very nice, cool thing going on for the most part. It's not a terrible phone, but having those gesture-based designs really does change a lot of things within a device, and it definitely gets a thumbs up for me from that particular perspective. On the XS Max, I do think this is probably one of those iPhones that I'd look at as probably being the better iPhone in a majority of ways between these two. So the performance is going to be slightly better. You're going to be getting an extra, a gigabyte of RAM, which is going to be cool. And I do think from that side as well, you're going to be getting a very, very well-built, performed phone. And from that side, that definitely gets a thumbs up for me in my personal. And from that side, that definitely gets a thumbs up for me in my personal opinion as well. So overall, what I'll definitely tell you is I love the iPhone X. I love the iPhone XS Max. But if I'm going to recommend a phone to people, it's 100% going to be the iPhone XS Max. That is a significantly better phone in almost every single way. And I cannot think of any way where the iPhone X is a better iPhone as of this point, and maybe from a cheaper price tag standpoint or a smaller phone, but in almost every single way, the iPhone XS Max is going to be the significantly better phone for every single person, probably than the iPhone X, but if you don't like the size, just go for the iPhone XS Max, and it's going to be a better option for a lot of people. So, in terms of that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.